alone are capable of saving 500 plastic bags a year. So Swachh Sarvekshan is an inter ULB kind of a program. Yes. So Why Waste Wednesdays is my NGO, which I founded a little over 4 years back. So I think the fear element, trust me, is something which I would like to bring in again. But midweek Wednesdays, you have a little extra time. Long before COVID came in, our colony people saw that change. There was no spitting. There was a major anti-spitting drive during COVID, driven by the government. People never used to talk about waste management, and
Right.
waste was not so much so on people's priority list.
Earth is constantly sending us signals through climate change, through natural calamities, and through water scarcity. Sadly, many of these calls go unanswered and unheard. Missed calls from Earth is a humble effort to listen, learn, and amplify voices that are working tirelessly to listen to what Mother Earth has to say. Through this YouTube podcast, we share with you inspiring stories of a number of people who listen to Mother Earth and act on what she says. They are contributing towards conservation, sustainability, and responsible living because saving Earth is no more a choice, it's a shared responsibility. Today, we are honored to host Dr. Ruby Makhija, an ophthalmologist, sustainability advocate, TEDx speaker, and founder of initiatives like Why Waste Wednesdays. Her initiatives are dedicated to promoting responsible waste management and environmental awareness. Let's listen to a call that was answered by Dr. Ruby, who has transformed Navjeevan Vihar, a renowned society in South Delhi, into a zero waste colony. No waste leaves the colony. Everything is reused and recycled. What's this about, Dr. Makhija?
Thank you so much, Vinci ji, for having me over. So I think this is something which is a basic responsibility of every waste generator, if I may put it so. All that we've done at Navjeevan is make them realize this responsibility and act accordingly. So I will not say that we've done something which is exceptional. I think we've just kind of made people realize and aware and act in sync with their own surroundings in the interest of their own children, of their own future generation, of their
Wow.
own neighborhood.
Awesome. Awesome. And how did you manage to achieve it? It's not an easy task.
Well, if you may say so, no change comes easy, I would say. Especially when it has to kind of take you out and pull you out of your comfort zone. So it never is easy. But honestly speaking, it wasn't so difficult also. I think it was the strategic approach, it was the persistence, it was the deeper understanding of the subject of waste management, and I think a very strong passion driven team which actually led to everything. Also, I would add that collaboration was something which was instrumental in kind of erecting the Navjeevan Vihar model.
So was there no resistance from the Safai Karamcharis and the other people? I don't want to segregate my kuda.
Yeah. So, yes, there was resistance. As I said, change never comes easy. So, there's always resistance. It was a great resistance which we faced initially, especially in a time when people, that time when we started about 8 years back, people never used to talk about waste management, and
Right.
waste was not so much so on people's priority list than it is now. I've seen it evolve over last 8 years, but at that time there were very few models which we could learn from. So that was something which was challenging. Of course, behavior change, uh, especially so when we have to, kind of make it a little uncomfortable for people to act accordingly, certainly is difficult. It is time taking, but I think what went in our favor was that we are a very small community. It was a very closely bonded community. People upscale society where people have been abroad, they're educated, they're intellectual, and everyone had the interest of their own colony at heart, because by then, by the time we actually took up waste management, we had done already a lot of community building exercises, which brought the community together, close to each other, in a very strong manner. So I think, yes, and then it is the right, when we come to talk about residents, they all like cleanliness, right? And they've seen the systems abroad, most of them, I think almost all of them. It was more to do with the domestic helps and the garbage collectors. So,
Right.
garbage collectors certainly, it was time taking for them, because they had to explain everything to the residents again and again, which, of course, for them, time is money, you see. So, that was where we brought in volunteers. We brought in an NGO, which used to do that job for them, so that they were free only to pick up the garbage, right? So we made them free of all of those activities. The volunteers supported. They used to go door to door. The children of the colony, we brought in a program whereby, each child was assigned four households, and
Okay.
he or she used to propagate in those households. So it was a beautiful community initiative, and people were very receptive to what children were coming. And children, as you give them a job, and they just chase it up to eternity. So I think, all put together, as far as domestic helps, training, capacity building made a lot of difference. Also, we brought in a very, I would say, it never was intended to be a waste management program. We were just thinking of providing some kind of a support and empowerment to women who used to work in our colony. So we had started a sanitary napkin distribution program. So we made these sanitary napkins biodegradable. We procured the biodegradable ones.
Okay.
Also, we linked it up with the waste management. So every time, every month, when these ladies used to come to pick up their supply, we used to talk about three things: segregate your waste, say no to single use plastic, and say no to littering and spitting. Long before COVID came in, our colony people saw that change. There was no spitting. There was a major anti spitting drive during COVID, driven by the
Mhm.
government. But we were already in place before that. And for the last 7 years now, this program is running beautifully for over 200 domestic helps and their, daughters. So I think somewhere it was the right balance of disincentive and incentive. A lot of incentive for every stakeholders. For children, it was certificates. For resident, it was a lot of pride
Wow.
that the initiative brought in. For garbage collectors, it was the high rising cost of the segregated recyclables, which they were able to earn a little extra buck. For domestic helps, it was the sanitary napkin program. And over 7 years, this incentive, disincentive, recognition, you may call it whatever you wish to, has transformed into long-term behavior change.
Wonderful. And what are the acronyms WWW and RRR for? I was
Okay,
going
so
through a, yeah,
yeah.
why waste
So
Wednesdays?
yes, so Why Waste Wednesdays is my NGO, which I founded a little over 4 years back. Um, Considering that now the work was growing, people were coming, they were wanting my intervention. So I think somewhere I needed a slightly bigger platform. I would say not bigger in the sense terms of bigger, I would say a wider platform where I could deliver outside the colony. So that is how Why Waste Wednesdays came in. So Why Waste um, stands for why do you waste? It's symbolic
Right.
of minimal consumption. Then Wednesdays was symbolic of spending a couple of minutes to a couple of hours, as much as you can, at least once a week. It could be any day. But midweek, Wednesdays, you have a little extra time at hand. Monday, you have a hectic schedule, weekends, you are with family. So, midweek is ideal for spending some time on waste management, whatever it may be. We brought in a lot of ideas flowing as to what you could do. Also, Wednesdays, because it is an alliteration, WWW. So that is the reason behind Why Waste Wednesdays. RRR is simple: reduce, reuse, recycle. It was an initiative by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Triple R centers, whereby they created these centers. I think we have now around 53 centers in Delhi also, where you could give in your stuff for reuse and recycling, and from there it could be channelized to either to lesser privilege for reuse, or to the recyclers for recycling. I've been trying my level best not to restrain it to lesser privilege, giving also a little value to the product, but thrifting is something which, right now in South, in Bangalore, etc., it's a great concept, but I think in northern part of India, we still have to bring that in. And especially so after COVID, I think people have their reservations, touching the stuff which has already been used once. So we
Right.
did not try to caution that. We restricted ourselves to wherever it was required rather than, pushing it down people's throat. I think it's going in beautifully. We have a triple R center in Navjeevan Vihar. It used to be a community dustbin, a dalao or a khata,
Yeah.
which we beautifully transformed because there was nothing as waste once we achieved zero waste to landfill status. And we utilized this space beautifully into a triple R center, which is now accepting reusables not only and recyclables not only for Navjeevan but across Delhi. Anyone, Delhi, NCR, even we get shipments from coming from Bombay, Ahmedabad, and all,
Okay.
which can be further channelized to the right point of disposal. So, and it is open 24 by 7 round the clock. Anyone can drop their stuff, So, whenever you're crossing by this area, even if it is night after a dinner or, your family gathering or anything, you can just carry your stuff, and on the way, you could just drop it right at the colony gate.
So you're also taking care of e-waste.
Oh, yes, very much. So, let me tell you, we take care of all the streams of recyclables, starting from e-waste to plastic waste to paper waste to, textile waste now to metals to everything. So, these are the recyclable streams, glass, yeah, so Tetra Packs. So, all of those we accept and we sort and we keep it for the respective recyclers who come and pick it up from us.
Perfect. And what about composting? Composting is also being done out there itself.
Yes. So when we say, let me explain what is the zero waste to landfill model. Zero waste to landfill is one, the concept of triple R reduced in the first place. First of all, the maximum impact comes from reducing your consumption as far as you can reduce. And then what you do is that you segregate your waste, which is the foundation of all waste management is segregation. So there you separate your waste right from the source, from where it is being produced, which in a case of a colony is the household. So there they segregate into three streams: wet, dry, and domestic hazardous. So
Right.
wet is something which is kitchen waste, which is what we compost, which comprises of about 55 to 60% of the entire waste generated in
Right.
household is wet. And after that, post that, is your 35 to 39% is your dry waste, which is paper, plastic, metal, glass, the non-biodegradable fraction. And only 1 to 4% of domestic hazardous, which has, sanitary waste like napkins and diapers, and then used syringes, broken glass, or, a dead pest or expired medicine, anything which could be dangerous.
Right.
So just three categories you segregate. So each and every household in the colony segregates into these three categories. And the first category, which is the 55 to 60% of the waste, is kitchen waste, is what goes to our composting station every single day, and we feed it to our composting bins called gayas, and there we beautifully generate black gold or compost. So nothing, none of that leaves the colony. It is all inside the colony that we take care of.
There is a lot of complaint at times from the colony members only that composting is going to cause a lot of smell and gases.
Yes.
Is there a solution for
I
that
would
or it doesn't?
be So let me be very honest with you. I will not deny that there used to be a smell when we were practicing in compost pits. No matter how hard you try, I think somewhere the little stench, which I find it fruity, but people may find it offensive,
Hmm.
uh, was there when we were doing it in the pits. But throughout the cycle, it wasn't there. Only when we used to harvest that compost was when we actually felt that smell. So, since we were composting for the last 4.5 years, we took a decision that even for that 1 single or 2 days when we harvest, let the residents, because they were the foundation of the entire project, so let them not face that inconvenience, and we invested into smell-free bins. Trust
Okay.
me, it is totally, when I say smell-free, it is completely smell-free, completely, to the extent that the composting area is the area certainly where most of the dignitaries visit, and people come, the journalists come, and they just drop by at the composting site saying that we've reached without any notice. And trust me, we even serve our refreshments in that area. It is that
Wow.
clean.
Wow.
There's no dirt, no smell, no stench around. Even the most prestigious people who have visited the colony have been served refreshments there.
There is something new which has come out. There are automatic waste converters which are available, where which you can convert even your office waste and your wet waste, and 80% of it gets converted. Have you heard about them?
Yes, so there are various type of wet waste processing techniques, which I may call it processing. This could be manual composting in a pit that we used to practice, now in bins that we practice. It could be mechanical in organic waste composters, where mechanically they are transformed. There are various types of organic waste composters where space is a restraint and constraint. But trust me, I think somewhere when we shorten the time of composting from, maybe you can say, 60-40 days to 24 hours, you can imagine, it is something which is a natural process. It will take time. Yeah. So somewhere you do compromise on the quality of processing there, but when space is actually a constraint, what do you do? So there are organic waste composters which do it mechanically with machines and electricity and blades and shredding and all of that. But ours is a very beautiful, I would say almost laborious and almost, I would say most operational free kind of a system that we have, which may not suit offices where they bring in these organic waste composters.
Right.
And the third, if you talk about city level, yeah, I mean, we talk about colony level, then we talk about office as a space. You also could start from your home. You get home composting equipment also. You could just
Hmm.
start in a
Hmm.
matka also. It just is a technique how to do it.
Yes.
Now going to a city level also, and a big ward level, maybe for Delhi, one ward is almost like a city. So
Right.
there you also have bigger solutions like, CNG, biomethanation or all, where your wet waste is kind of converted into the
Biogas.
biogas, and the gas can be compressed and converted further into CBG,
Right.
which can fuel your vehicles also. So there are
Right.
various technologies which are being worked out now. But again, the bottom line is segregation. If you're not getting the wet waste separately, what do you do then? None of these
Things
techniques
will
or
work,
technologies can help you.
which is very true. Have you got any support from the MCD in all your ventures?
Oh, absolutely. I would say, you see, people have their own viewpoints about the corporations, I would say. But trust me, I've worked with the finest of officers in Municipal Corporation of Delhi, and they are very focused, very dedicated, very sincere, and these officers really want to deliver results on ground right from my day one, and which is why for the last almost close to 9 years now, I'm working constantly along with the corporation, not outside the corporation. They're one of the biggest partners, I would say, in this. Also, when we forget something very fundamental, you say it is the corporation's responsibility to take care of it, right?
Hmm.
I totally accept it, and I'm not denying the kind of gaps that are there in any of the corporations, for that matter. Why specific to municipal corporation? Because now I work across other cities also with other corporations. So, but that said, Don't you think that we are the waste generators and we too have a responsibility of kind of managing something which we have created? It's not
Yes.
the corporation which is creating the waste, right? It is us who are generating the waste. And just by merely paying, and that too just a fraction of population which pays the taxes towards managing this waste, how can we just comfortably and conveniently shift the entire onus onto the corporations? Yes, they have a fundamental duty and responsibility, but even if before their duty and responsibility, I think it is every waste generator's responsibility to kind of take care and do whatever they can at their own level. And segregation doesn't involve your time or your money or anything. It just requires a will to do that. That said, the kind of support that I received from Municipal Corporation of Delhi, initially first getting us to understand and know what the guidelines are, what is wet, what is dry. So knowledge resource was something that we got from Municipal Corporation, and which was flowing from the Swachh Bharat mission directly as Swachh Sarvekshan. So that is something which came from the corporation. And regular touch basis, we've had regular meetings. Even yesterday there was an RWA meeting which was held in the corporation. It is not a one odd time exercise that they are doing. They're constantly chasing and following up with the RWAs. Of course, there are gaps which are there, and that we could always do better if we have a slightly gap-free system, and we are all working towards that. But then that was one part of it. The first set of pits that we had were constructed by the Municipal Corporation of Delhi. They accompanied us when we were going door to door convincing people. They were with us there, and a word from corporation certainly is taken much more seriously than a word from us,
Right.
right? So that made all the difference. Plus, identifying, yes, this colony is doing well. You imagine the then commissioner, Mr. Gyanesh Bharti, I would name it, was so proactive. He picked it up that, this is a colony, let us go and study. He came himself, he studied the model, he tried his level best and provided me with all sort of support that I could, so that I could replicate this model in other areas. So he did what he could in his capacity to kind of take it to a city level. He did that. Plus, when the MCD got merged, the three MCDs came together.
Right.
He was the commissioner for all these three. So our program went up three times. So we were covering 12 zone, and then they took me formally as the brand ambassador, where my whole role was to kind of motivate and mobilize all stakeholders, especially RWAs, to kind of do their bit and convince them to replicate the model. So what more can you ask, from a corporation? They did provide. Also, when we were facing resistance from two or three households, which were like, of course, there are all sorts of reasons. It could be political, it could be ego. So there they approached. They were, they were very strict. When we had given enough chances and support to the resident, they did not shy away from issuing notices. So I think, and trust me, no matter how hard you try, unless and until a certain element of enforcement is there, things will
Yes.
never fall in place. Yeah. So I think they did all they could. They still are doing. I'm still working with them, neck to neck, shoulder to shoulder, trying to do whatever we can together. So I would say they were the biggest partners in this entire endeavor.
Wow. Great. How many other societies and RWs are following your footsteps?
Uh, See, the official figure is somewhere close to 600, I would say. But personally, if I say I could name some of the RWS who are genuinely out of passion, despite the kind of tight resources, are still trying to do their level best. I would name West End here. West End
Hmm.
started this initiative before us. The bin with that we got was all came from West End, because they were already practicing there. They are a colony which is more upscale than ours, and they were already had started this initiative before that. Though Navjeevan now has a great name, but I think I must say that West End did a lot of efforts, and a little before Navjeevan actually came on the ground. Then I would like to name another colony, which is Vasant Kunj D6 Santushti apartment. Now, that's a very different kind of a colony, because that's a larger colony. Ours is like around 280 households. they are close to 1100 households. That's a different setup altogether. It's
Mm.
a DDA colony. It is a uh, I would say, middle class kind of a colony, not as, I would say, upscale as ours, but still, trust me, the president was so passionate that when I got a CSR offer for supporting a colony, that was the first colony that I picked up, because I knew that RWA was very, very keen to do it, and they've done it beautifully with a little CSR support that we provided. But the initiative still continues, and it has a bigger impact than Navjeevan, also in terms of, the number of households, if I may put it so. They came up with a triple R center running there. Of course, not everybody, I took a switch from not only from an RWA to a brand ambassador MCD, also now to my own NGO. So I have various platforms. They chose to restrict themselves to the colony, but they're doing a tremendous job there as well. Now we are coming up with more colonies. Gitanjali Enclave did this. Some initiatives, not all, were taken up by, Shivalik A block, B block. B block is
Mm.
doing very well. Some of the colonies in Saket, I would name, are doing beautifully. Then recently, there's another colony in Vasant Kunj, which is in the process. You'll see that colony also very soon going towards this. So I will not say it is a destination. I would say it is a journey. And everyone has to take that journey, every waste generator. So people are now getting conscious, some because of passion, some because of understanding that realization that this is my job too, and some because of fear. So I think the fear element, trust me, is something which I would like to bring in again. That unless and until enforcement comes in, this cannot
Yes.
be scaled up to the level that we want it to be scaled up. Why not? What is the problem in segregating is something which I fail to see. So yes, of course, the collection transportation system of Municipal Corporation of Delhi also need to be, there.
Revamped.
Yeah, that also need to go up as and when you take it. So when we took the Navjeevan project, we ensured that there were no gaps. We took care of all of those gaps, whether it was collection, whether it was infrastructure, whether it was training, whether it was enforcement. Every gap was taken care of. So this is what I think Delhi is going towards, and I am a very positive person. I still see a lot of hope here.
How
So
many
yes,
cities outside Delhi have taken up something like this?
oh yes, very, very many. So let me explain a little bit about Pan India, scenario. So, Swachh Sarvekshan has been running, and I've been with it for 9 years now with the Swachh Sarvekshan. So, Swachh Sarvekshan is an inter ULB kind of a program. So, the urban local body, it could be your municipal corporation, it could be your council, it could be a panchayat who have a responsibility towards managing the waste. Swachh Sarvekshan has kind of engaged this into a program, which is a beautiful program. I must compliment the government of India for such a beautiful direction that they have given to the urban local bodies as to what they should be doing at a city level. Now, here is where initially this Swachh Sarvekshan used to be an optional things for urban local bodies to be participating, and they have now mandated it. So, pan India, all the urban local bodies, whether it is a small or a big or a very big or a metro city, all have to participate in this ranking program. So, and it is a very beautifully devised toolkit which comes at the beginning of every year. We've recently last month only received the toolkit for the coming year, and it has various indicators on cleanliness, on waste management, on water management, on liquid waste management, on dump site remediation, and all of those. So it's a beautifully devised program with sub indicators and marking for every indicator. So it's a wonderfully designed toolkit, and every urban local body is supposed to follow this toolkit, and they're doing it at their whatever capacity they are. And I would talk about some of the very good examples. Ambikapur, if you study, is a great example in waste management, where they brought in self-help group women to lead the entire waste management program. Goa, I must compliment, has done tremendous job in waste management. They have a separate corporation for waste management. It's not a part of general corporation. It's like Goa Waste Management Corporation. It's a separate corporation which is managing the entire waste of the entire state. Now that is coming up with beautiful program. It has in Panjim itself there are 33 colonies which are segregating into 16 types. You can imagine, not just one, two, or three, 16 types of waste streams, right? And individually going to various recyclers. That's about Goa. Recently, we've started in Hisar with, Hisar is coming up beautifully, the manner in which the city is taking up. Rohtak, I'm engaged with, I've seen Rohtak doing beautifully well. Apart from this, one big segment is cantonments. I've worked a lot
Yeah,
with
you
a
work
couple
with
of
the army as
cantonments.
well.
Yes, so these cantonments are doing a tremendous job, and as we all know, the forces are the most disciplined organization in our country. Nobody would refute that, yeah. So if it comes trickles down from there, it becomes a system in itself. So they are now CANT boards and even the military stations where the CANT board is not there. The smaller stations are individually taking up waste management directly. So I think, and these smaller stations are not even mandated, I think, as far as I remember, but still they are doing it out of their own desire and will and commitment and responsibility to do so. So I think the scenario is it's very, very hopeful. It's a pan India program. Smaller, bigger cities all are engaged into it. I've at my level engaged with so many corporations outside Delhi also, and I see them full in action. And the basis, again, the foundation of it is Swachh Sarvekshan by Swachh Bharat Mission, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, which are following it up on a daily basis. It's a very dynamic program, and which is what gives me a lot of hope for the country.
You're also doing rainwater harvesting at Navjeevan Vihar. How is that helping?
So, yes, so rainwater harvesting program was started even before I took up on as the secretary. Of course, when you become mindful with CG towards one element, you become mindful towards everything around you, whether it is water, whether it is waste, whether it is air, whether it is your social commitment towards your neighborhood, towards your staff, towards the people who reside, even towards the animals in the colony. Let me give you one example before I tell you about rainwater harvesting. When I say all the flora and fauna inside Navjeevan is a part of Navjeevan, we had about 16 stray dogs. I won't call stray, I would call them community dogs that we
Right.
had in the community. And now we have six. We have been very careful to vaccinate, sterilize all of these,
Hmm.
inmates here. And trust me, there was a case when one of the dogs got injured in the eye, and we have a caregivers group. We work together hand in hand. We raise funding for that, and that dog was treated in a private setup for a week and came back to the community. Beautiful example. So when we talk about community, it is not limited only to human beings. It is
Right.
limited also, I mean, it extends to animals, it extends to birds, it extends to, cats. The other day one was injured. Before RWA could be informed, the resident picked up the cat and took it to the vet.
How do you see India's sustainability scene evolving now?
I think the graph is upgoing, I would say, as far as if I talk about sustainability, and now we've moved on to circular economy, as I say. But let me talk also, I can't just talk about sustainability without actually talking about damage which is being done. The damage and the rate at which the waste generation is going up, I think, is still much higher than the rate at which we are doing a damage control. That is something which I'd like to say. The governments are doing its bit. Yes, they could improve a little in enforcement. I say that without hesitation. That if I could see something which the governments could do to kind of scale up the program or make it more impactful, is one area is enforcement, and the other is the trust and the bridging which they could do with the common waste generator. These two areas is somewhere where I see the governments could come in. CSRs could come in providing the kind of funding support, and they one thing here I would take the opportunity of this platform and make a point that the CSRs, I think they've gone to an extent where they're now kind of supporting their regular implementing agencies, without seeing that new grassroots NGOs are coming which have a more strong connect with the waste generator. So somewhere I would like to point out that the support to smaller grassroots NGOs is missing, and that is something which the CSR sector could
Yes.
take seriously.
Yes.
Yeah, and at a policy level, one more thing I'd like to point out. Certainly, I'm really happy the manner in which the government is now coming tighter on, kind of on NGOs to kind of see that they're actually doing a real impactful work, not just wasting the
Yes.
public and the government money. But that said, I think they also need to build an ecosystem for the good NGOs, which I really feel is desperately required. Some kind of policies, of course, policies are great, but how you kind of execute those policies on the ground is something that the government must look into deeper. They could go in for public consultation, NGO consultation, as to find out what are the things that can be done to make and create a NGOs here. Another point which I'd like to make is about RWA authority and its responsibility. You've given them the responsibility.
Right.
One fundamental thing which must be told now, there are corporate group housing societies. They have an X amount of authority here. We are RWAs. We are come under the RWA Act of 1860, right? Now, this act empowers any seven people to get together and form another RWA.
Right.
So there is multiplicity of RWAs in the same area,
Right.
and all of them compete with each other. And people who don't wish to pay take this as an advantage not to pay their subscription, and without funding, RWAs also cannot deliver the program, can they? I mean, our biggest reason for success was that 97% of the residents of Navjeevan Vihar are members of RWA, and they are paying their subscription fee to the RWA. But what is the kind of authority that you've provided to RWA if you are giving them the responsibility is something that needs to be looked into. A very strong RWA Act must come in. Yes, we are happy to be accountable and we must be accountable. But that said, we should also get some kind of authority also. So if we have the authority only, then we can impose the same on the residents. So this is a deeper insight that I'd like to, which is not discussed generally on other forums. But I
Right.
think we, more than I would say incentives, the RWA need to be empowered. I think that RWA empowerment needs to come in without the fear of political representative feeling that, I might lose my authority if it is
Yes.
diluted with the RWAs. So RWAs, as I said, need to be empowered. Then I would say youth engagement. Okay. So India is a country which has the highest youth population, as we all know.
Yes, that
Yeah.
was my
So
next question.
yes, so I think we need to productively engage them, create also a space for employing these youth into the waste management sector that we are trying to do in my own NGO as well. I'll give you one example. Yesterday only, I just received a message from an ex unknown number that, I'd like to take this initiative of yours to my colony. And when I saw the DP, it was a young lady. I said, okay, great. So are you an RW member? She said, no. It's an unstructured colony where the RWA doesn't exist. I said, fine. And I looked, I said, are you a student? So she said, I've recently graduated from a college. Now you think she's recently graduated, and we all know, they will look eventually either at, further studies or at employment. And I asked her, I said, are you looking for a job? And she said, yes, I am. So I said, instantly come and join. Today she's joined my NGO, right?
Wow.
So we need the right set of people. If somebody is passionate about the cause, if somebody is looking for employment in this sector, trust me, though no matter how small we are, we do provide employment not just to experienced people, but to freshers who are passionate about it and whom we want to train the manner in which it's not going to be kind of a rote training which already is
Hmm.
happening XYZ there. We would like them to pick up our own principles that we follow and then engage them. See, so you have a job, you have a productive engagement, you have a career here. So I think youth need to be engaged in a very, very productive manner here, and there's lots of scope here to do so.
And what
So
will
youth.
your message be to the Gen Z?
Okay, so I have a lot of hope from Gen Z. I would say they bring in so much of new ideas, energy, technology, social media presence. They can truly transform this into a mass movement. So, my biggest message to them is look for waste and sanitation's problem around you and you become the change. There are loads of ways and manners and organizations that you could connect with in various capacities. You could be a volunteer. In your free time you could volunteer. You could volunteer sitting in your own home helping those organizations, kind of in various manners, documentation, social media presence, connect them with your other waste generators, whether it is your colony or your RWA or your office or your CSRs. Yeah, any individual is now capable of being the change. I won't say bringing the change, being the change himself or herself. And to going to that smallest bit, I would say, if you are segregating in Delhi and NCR, I assure you, drop us a message. I will send the personal vehicle to collect only an individual's recyclables. I
Wow.
am not looking at a colony level collection. We have now brought in that intervention again with TWEP LCSR called Swachh Wahini. We have two vehicles which run across Delhi to pick up recyclables, not just from bigger generators colony, or so we even pick up from individuals. So if you are making an effort to collect, your effort will not go waste. At least in Delhi NCR, we've brought that intervention.
Any message which you will like to give the society at large?
Okay, I certainly, again, I've said this in the podcast. First thing I would request everyone is to take ownership for their waste. It is not just the corporations or the government responsibility, it is our responsibility, every waste generator's responsibility. Second thing I would like to say is do not think that how do I just alone matter. Every individual matters. Let me give you an impact of one single individual. If one individual adopts a cloth bag and says no to plastic bags, you alone are capable of saving 500 plastic bags a year. So that would mean 20,000 to 40,000 in your lifetime. That's alone your impact. So start without thinking that I alone do not matter. You matter, and have that confidence that I will do my bit no matter what others are doing. बूंद बूंद से ही सागर भरता है, एंड एवरी बूंद इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर दैट फिलिंग अप ऑफ दैट सागर. सो हमें वही बूंद बनना है जो उस सागर को बेहतर कर सके. वही एक बूंद एक जहर भी हो सकता है. एक वो जाएगी सागर में तो वो पूरे मटके को, पानी के मटके को वो जहर कर सकती है, और
Yes.
वही अमृत भी कर सकती है. सो नाउ यू आर दैट बूंद, डिसाइड व्हाट यू हैव टू डू. And also, the third myth I would like to break here is that waste management is complicated, it is expensive, it is time taking. No, none of this is true. Waste management is the simplest thing that can occur to you. It doesn't require qualification, it doesn't require education, it doesn't require money, it doesn't require time. All it requires is a will. And that will, I'm not asking you to sit in front of your dustbin and pull out things wet and dry and sanitary separately. All I'm asking you is to not put it in the same place together. It's a very passive thing to do. It's not an active exercise that would take away your time or money. So, and please segregate irrespective of anything and everything, irrespective of the fact that whether or not it will get mixed after it leaves your home. Do it as your responsibility. And once you start doing it, trust me, it will improve, it will scale up. And for people of Delhi and NCR, I would say that we are there to support your efforts. Call me, you can message me. Of course, I will not be able to take calls here, but my number is floating all across. You are more than welcome to kind of drop me a WhatsApp. You will hear back from me. Not even a single message will go unanswered. And this is my personal number that I'm talking about. And if you are collecting your recyclables, no matter how big or small they are, we will pick it up. So I think, and we are expanding now our initiatives to other cities. Hisar, we are doing it. People of Hisar can connect with us. Rohtak connect with us. Goa can connect with us. So these cities, cantonments, of course, are reaching out to us. So please feel free to reach out. We will do our level best to connect you with the right set of people who can support your efforts. It will not go in vain.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. We are sharing your number with all the viewers so they can connect with you or WhatsApp you and they can continue this wonderful work. It was a great thing to meet with you and understand how the recycling can be done. I wish everybody can start doing it and India will be a much better place. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ji.
Today's conversation reminded us that sustainability is not just about protecting the environment, it is about protecting our future, our communities, and our responsibility towards the planet. Dr. Ruby's journey shows that real transformation begins when awareness turns into action. Whether it's reducing waste, recycling responsibly, or educating communities. Each one of us can contribute by supporting sustainable and eco friendly solutions, encouraging responsible waste and sewage management, spreading awareness about pollution control, and making environment friendly responsible choices. If this episode inspired you, share it with someone who believes in creating a better planet. Until next time, choose awareness, choose compassion, respect life, and never ignore Earth's missed calls.